And good morning, everybody, here in Ballarat. Oh, we had a little bang then, didn't we? This is Elizabeth Thompson now. I'm here with you, and this is Good News Radio 103.9 FM, a voice of hope. And David has allowed me to hijack his program this morning just for a little while because I have some very special guests here with me from International Needs and from the Philippines. So I'm welcoming this morning Belinda Greenwood from International Needs.
Thanks, Liz.
And Sherwin Mariano. I know that with his accent, it sounds so much nicer than mine. Welcome, Sherwin.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Ballarat.
Good morning, and we also have Rebecca here, who is a volunteer. She's a silent partner in it. We might get her to open her mouth a little bit later. You can say good morning, Rebecca.
Morning.
That's all right. Sherwin, anyway, you have a very interesting story, and we really want to hear your story this morning. So you are now here in Australia, but normally you're in the Philippines.
Yes, that's right.
Are you based in Manila?
I am based in Metro Manila,
Yeah, and
in Quezon City.
Okay,
Right.
and that is where you actually grew up.
I grew up in other city, which is Marikina City.
Okay, now you can hear from his accent, it's a lovely accent, isn't it? That I don't say your name as well as I should. But anyway, I'd love for you to tell us your story of your early life.
Yeah, it's really a great pleasure to me to share my story and how the Lord really used me in His ministry. Before, I lived in a slum called Labas Bacod, and Labas Bacod literally means outside the wall or fence, because there's a huge wall that separates between the middle class people and the slum. Labas Bacod is around 1.5 acres of land with 2,000 people, 146 houses, and 400 families living together in a small piece of land. Our place is in the bank of the river, and we have experienced floodings 5 to 10 times a year. The flood is about 10 to 18 feet high. That's why we have to evacuate ourselves. We just bore a hole in the big part of the wall, and in the underside of the wall, we go there in the middle class because they have this basketball covered court area that we could stay there for a night or two.
So does that flood the whole of that area?
That's right. And
That
most
the
of
poor
the slums are in the bank of the river. That's why all slums are affected during typhoon.
Yeah. And so you're able, though, to go through the wall to a safe place when the floods come.
That's right, yes. And if the water subsides, we have to go back again in our place to clean all the mess and the muds. The mud is around 3 to 5 foot high. And before, in our community in Labas Bacod, we just have one pump or deep well. And it took us a week or two to clean up everything. And our houses before is made up of cardboard bags or sackcloth. And if the water goes up, all our shanty houses has been washed away, and we have to start all over again.
So where do you get the materials to rebuild your house?
Mostly in garbage or in rubbish.
Yeah.
Or some in the middle class subdivision in the other side of the wall.
So we can't even imagine that. We can't even get our minds around that. We put out our rubbish so easily, and that's the end of it. Now, so tell us about your early life there. Are you still living in that area?
Nah, not anymore. Labas
But you're
Bacod
working,
is
yeah.
not existing anymore because of the big
right.
flood happened 2009.
Yes.
The people in Labas Bacod has been relocated in Laguna area, which is around 2.5 hours drive from Manila.
So that's an area that doesn't flood as much.
No, it's flood free in relocation area where all of the people from Labas Bacod has been resettled.
Now, I think when you tell, that's a great background, you telling us your early story, because when you tell it, we'll realise how really desperate this was. Can you tell us about your early life?
Yeah, in Labas Bacod, I grown up in that slum area together with my parents, my siblings. And in that situation has been a long time. Like my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents are there. And my early age, we are in the cycle of poverty. But there is a big blessing came in our place. Like a group of people from the other side of the wall have heard so much about Labas Bacod people where I live. And they came and they saw the place Labas Bacod in a mess. Lots of children around. So many people do nothing, fighting each other, cursing each other. And there's no such good environment around. But when a group of Christian aid organization, so the children in Labas Bacod, and there's a particular child playing marbles in the dust, and they asked his name, and he replied, his name is Sherwin, and that's me.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was 9 years old then, playing marbles in the dust, no hope and helpless at all.
Can you remember what you felt like at that time when they asked you that?
They it's like a strange, because they look stranger and they well dressed, and they ask us if we are studying, and most of the children say, no, we're not studying, we're just here. And that's the start. They introduce themselves that they are from International Needs and helping children through sponsorship. And to make the story short,
Yes.
they offer help. They gather all the children and the parents, and they began to explain what are they doing and explain what sponsorship all about, because we never know what sponsorship is. The government doesn't help in the people in the slums. But they said, we will get at least 60 profiles of children, and we'll try to find sponsors in Australia.
Now, I believe you were probably one of the first to be sponsored, am I correct?
That's right. When they go back in our place after how many months, they announce that out of 60, there are 30 children has been sponsored.
Oh,
And
yes.
I'm one of them.
Well, Sherwin.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my name to announce, number 10, my name hasn't announced yet. And finally, number 16. My name has been announced, and I'm like, wow, yeah.
What an exciting day and a turning point in your life, absolutely, at that time. And today you have a degree in science.
That's right. But before that, the real excitement when they took us in school, they enrolled us, they give us brand new shoes, uniforms, bags, school supplies. They also look after with our health and community development. Every Sunday or Saturday afternoon, the team of International Need goes in our place and to share the gospel and all the Bible stories we've heard under the bamboo tree in Labas Bacod. And to tell you that violence, evil things, fighting, curses decreases and decreases because the gospel has been spread out and shared.
One of the difficulties of this is only a small group are able to be sponsored, and that is a great pity. But then through that, you are still there and you are still reaching those people in the poor areas.
That's right. That's the effect of if you help someone, you could also see how it makes difference.
It's like throwing a stone into a pool and there's ripples that go out. So from that one sponsorship of you very early, when you're only 9 years
That's
old,
right, yes.
that has been a great effect.
Yes.
Yes. It's now going on. When you were, was it 19, you were left with the responsibility of your family?
Yes, it is. It was. Like, I didn't expect that my parents will abandon us. First my father, because he cannot provide anymore. Afterwards, my mother as well. I am the second child out of 8 children. And that time, my eldest sister is away from us. And I'm in charge, or second in command to my family.
I dare say that was such a desperate need that they had reached the end of the line. And,
That's right.
And so they would just walk away from it. But that put you in a very difficult place.
It is, yeah. And that time I was in my first year in university, international needs, and my sponsor here in Australia still helping me in my university. But there is a great need that I'm facing with, which is the my siblings' daily needs. And at that time, I'm thinking on how would I help myself? How would I help my siblings? I cannot get an instant work for me to provide for my siblings. And also, I'm thinking to abandon them because I wanted to finish my education. Because education is my only tool for me to be able to achieve my dream, to help myself, to help my siblings. But what am I gonna do with my siblings? I also think before to run away because I'm not ready for an obligation.
We would say that was between a rock and a hard place, a decision that are two decisions you have to make, and they're both equally important to be able to do that. And you still have that responsibility of your siblings, I think, today.
That's right, yes.
And you help to support them, or you to support them
still. Yes.
And that is a big thing, I think. Can we just go to a little break here with a song which is a mission song? It actually comes from Ethiopia. We didn't have one from your part of the world, but this is called Hollow Eyes. And I'm going to come back and ask you, what does a day look like in your life at the present moment? We'll be back. You're with Good News Radio 103.9 FM, A Voice of Hope, and I'm speaking with Sherwin Mariano from the Philippines. I've got the privilege of speaking with Sherwin Mariano from the Philippines, and I also have Belinda here and Rebecca. Now, you have a very important message I think you want to speak about before we talk about your day, Sherwin.
Yes.
You were talking about forgiveness. This is one of the biggest things, I think, in the Christian life.
Yeah, that's right. Forgiveness means a lot, you know. And when I finished my education as I got my degree as a Bachelor of Science in secondary education. During my graduation, my parents shown up, and it's a big surprise for me. And I proved to myself that I forgive them, because when I saw them surprisingly in my graduation day, my heart is jumping for happiness and joy, respect and love that the Lord really taught me on how to. You know, I always have this passage or Bible text in Ephesians 6:1-3 says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your mother and father, which is the first commandment with promise, so that you will live long on this earth." Also in forgiveness, in Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, for God has forgiven you." And from then on, after, you know, how many years, my mother goes back and my father as well, and we are reunited.
That is amazing, because that was a very hard thing for you to do when they had left you with so much responsibility. Now let's move to say, what does a day look like for you these days? Where are you working, and what do you do in a day?
I'm now the CEO of the Vineyard of Grace Ministry, one of the mechanism of International Needs Australia. We're now looking after, with sponsored children, around 540 sponsored children in different communities in the Philippines. Our day is not, we don't have any pattern, you know. I have just 5-6 staff in the Philippines looking after with 540 children, and we used to visit them in their communities, monitor about what's going on in their family, in the school, in their community. And we do like training program or skills training for the parents and in the community as well.
So when someone sponsors someone there, They're not just left on their own. You are there to support those children.
That's right.
What interests me is that you have gone from 30 that were originally sponsored,
Yes.
and now that has grown to 540.
That's right.
What about those 30 though? Did they go on to do anything?
Well, they are all now professionals, just like me before, hopeless and helpless in the slum. But when someone helped me through sponsorship, my life has changed like them. They are now helping their siblings, sending them to school, helping their families and relatives and the community.
That is just an amazing story of how sponsorship can help in that place. Belinda's here also representing International Needs. Belinda, can you tell us a little bit of how this works?
Certainly. So there's quite a few options of child sponsorship. We've got lots of children in the Philippines. We're actually over this weekend trying to get 100 children sponsored so that we can add to Sherwin's workload. But we can really make a lot of impact. As you said, Elizabeth, that little rock in the pool does have that ripple effect. Just under $1 a day. It doesn't seem so much for us, but it has a lasting impact in the community of the Philippines. So it's $39 a month, or there's various options that you can choose, and you can organise that through contacting our office on 1300 731 550, or you can check out our website internationalneeds.org.au.
Well, as usual, you're doing a great work in so many parts of the world, Belinda, but this is just... there are just so many needy places, and this is just wonderful to hear about the Philippines. I'm not going to let Rebecca away without saying just one sentence. Rebecca, you've recently been in the Philippines, so
right.
What were you doing?
I spent 8 months in the Philippines earlier this year, working in the Vineyard of His Grace Ministries office, helping out with their everyday stuff that they do there, lots of photocopying, and I was actually very blessed to be able to go into the communities as well, help out with interviewing new child sponsorships and things like that.
You've done a great work there over 8 months, and obviously come back with a real heart for the people in the Philippines. And I suppose that says, Belinda, that we need volunteers also.
Absolutely. Sometimes you can't help monetarily, but you can definitely pray. If you have nothing to give, you definitely have your prayers, and that would be wonderful. If you're a medical professional or you would like to go over and help, we send teams over on a regular basis to do medical clinics, sports clinics. Basically any gifting that you have can be utilised in the Philippines, and we'd love to hear from you.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming along this morning. Sherwin, you've got the last word. What would you like to say?
Well, I'd like to also to share Proverbs 3:5-6 about trusting the Lord. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Always acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will make your path straight. And also, if you see a need and if you have nothing, there's nothing that you can do but pray. If you have a little, you can help a little. But if you have a lot, there's a whole lot thing that you can do. Thank you and good morning. To God be the glory.
Oh, thank you very, very much for coming in this morning and sharing that with us. And Ballarat out there, I'm sure there's some of you that can respond to that. I should actually just get that number, Belinda, again, that
Certainly.
you can ring.
You can call our office on 1300 731 550, or check out the website, or we're also on Facebook. But we're also Sherwin speaking at the Carmel Welsh Presbyterian Church at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. And we'll also be at Mount Clear Primary School Fete tomorrow, 10 till 2.
Well, that'll be a lot of fun, eh?
Yeah.
So there we are. We have all those things. Thank you very much again. This is Twyla Paris, Delight My Heart. I've been speaking with Sherwin Mariano and Belinda Greenwood and Rebecca here from International Needs and for the Philippines.